All right, I think we're ready. Okay, welcome everyone to another XAFers Community Stand-Up. This was actually scheduled to be done last week. I know we have been doing second week, third week, but this one definitely needed to wait because we were waiting for the early preview to be released, and that's already out, and it has a lot of great things. We're gonna see them here. We have with us Dennis, the PM from SAF, so he will be presenting all the great features that are on the early preview. As always, we have a Facebook group joining in. We're already like 2,000, almost 600 members. We have our LinkedIn group, 2,900 members. Staff Twitter, where everything, all the new announcements are done. And of course, this is the main topic from today, the early preview with the runtime customization, no code, usability enhancement for Blazor, and more. Before we get to action, as always, we have with us the President VP Dave and Joche, and Dennis, please, if you guys can introduce yourself. I know that like basically everyone here knows you, but it's good if someone else is watching the video for the first time. And then we get to the important part of the meetup.
Thank you, Jose. My name is Denis Garovsky, and I am a product manager at DevExpress. Nice to see you all.
Dave, Joche.
Well, my name is Joche Ojeda. I work for Sari and Bit Frameworks, and we do stuff 24/7, mostly, nowadays mostly Blazor. Well, I guess everyone else know the rest about me. So Dave.
Yeah, thank you, Dave from Llama Chat Technology. We've been using XAF since it was released in 2007, 2008. And like what it says, we've been doing this 24/7, so pretty exciting.
All right, so that's it. Let's quickly jump to the presentation that Dennis has prepared. You can basically, if you are like us following stuff all the time, you already know the great things. For example, in Blazor, we have the runtime layout customization when we can move things around at runtime without needing to redeploy the application. We have the filter editor that so many of our student clients and staffers has been asking of the community. We have color icons. That's a huge one. That's a really nice one. And a lot more things. This action container will be one of my favorites, but I will let it get to it, so I will not get in his way. So then the screen is yours, so feel free to share and we'll go from there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me share my screen quickly. Can you see anything? My browser?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started. Well, yesterday we released our early access preview of 23.1, and we will be showing our final release in like 2-3 months, in early June, hopefully. And this, I want to emphasize that this early access preview is for active universal subscribers if you are using XAF. And you can also test different DevExpress products if you own an active experience subscription. As you probably know, you can just go to your download manager. There you can find your required subscription, for example, universal for me, which never expires, by the way, lucky me. And here you can select a required build and just download it. If you want to test it live in Visual Studio, run demos. Okay. And by the way, I wanted to note a few labels here. all our builds are scanned using known security scanners like QR code and also virus total. So I think it's nice to know that we apply additional measures to keep you protected. Well, let's return to our early access preview. In this post, okay, sorry, let me move this here. In this post, I wanted to focus on Blazor side mostly, because as you probably know, we have a ton of features planned for our first mid-year release in June, and I will be unable to present everything at once, so I decided to split it into 2 or 3 posts. If you haven't seen our roadmap yet, you can visit our XAF team blog and find a post from February in the right panel. So today I will focus on Blazor side, and will demonstrate just a few additional features which I selected, which I like most. So the first one, and I think the most interesting, is runtime form layout customization. It's interesting because we talk about web browser applications, and it's a bit unusual to see this functionality on the web because of its complexity. And I will jump into my Visual Studio quickly, to the model editor, just to show a few things. I think most of you are already familiar with layout customization from WinForms applications, and also from design time experience of the model editor. Here you can see that I selected detail view node, then I selected the layout node, and here you can see our WinForms layout control that allows you to see approximate UI that you get at runtime. You can customize this UI, you can move some items to different positions, etc., etc. And this is basically, this designer is built on WinForms control, and it has advanced functionality, and it took many years to build. And I am returning to my point that making this available on the web is a big undertaking for us, but we believe it's worth it. So let me run our main demo application, and let's see how it works in action. I hit F5. Let's wait for the application to build its database, to make some station, and hopefully it will show us the main application form. Let me check how it goes. Yeah, it's loading some symbols. Maybe because I'm debugging too much recently. Who knows? Or maybe it's because, as Hochi mentioned in the past, it happens when you record on Zoom. Coach, do you remember how we bypassed it last time? I just forgot.
To be honest, there is no way around. It will just stay like that until you stop sharing. So you can try to stop sharing and then start sharing again, and it will get a little bit better.
Okay, let me try it. I'm just afraid that it will break recording. Yeah. Thanks, Zoom. Well, let's go into detail form. Yeah, it's Zoom for sure, because my processor is working very hard. Okay, it opened. Here you can see a typical Blazor detail form. As you would expect, you can just right click and invoke the customization menu exactly as you would do it in a WinForms application. We made it for now. We made it that this menu works if you click on layout items or empty space, for example. Here it works. If I click here, it will display the built-in browser menu because, for example, you might want to copy some things or invoke different commands. And I can also click here and let's go into customization mode. And again, you can see a form like in WinForms that basically has two panels. The first one, it's the layout structure. It's the structure of your layout groups and layout items, exactly as you saw it in the model editor. Sorry, I closed it, but trust me. In this menu, you can invoke. Okay, I misclicked. You can invoke context menu and to invoke additional commands. For example, change position of caption. You can group, hide item. You can also, for example, rename something if you don't like the current caption. For example, here we have details. I want details 1, 2, 3, and it's changed immediately. The right panel, you can see hidden items. As you remember from WinForms, it's a set of items that you made available to end users at design time, and they can decide to show them or not, or give them. Here you can just move these items in different positions on your phone. And also, the most interesting part is drag and drop, because as I showed in the model editor, you can just change position of every item. For example, full name, I want it to be at the top. So I just take it and place it here, and it changes immediately. Here you can see that we try to highlight the elements, UI elements like groups, items. For example, right now I highlighted the whole details group, and you can see my cursor changed to tell you what I can do with this. For example, I can move it the whole group if I wish. I can also, for example, hide items using context menu. So nodes go. And what else? I can also make some items change properties, additional properties besides caption for layout groups. For example, here you can recognize that we have a collapsible layout group. And I may wish to make it non-collapsible so that users can't actually collapse them. And I can also ungroup if I wish, for example. So the group go. And I can create tab groups. I can also select some item and move it up, down, or into another group. So I think it's the main functionality that I wanted to show you right now. And it's best to play around with it further yourself. I just want to emphasize that some specifics while building this feature. For example, when we enable the customization form, we make all editors read-only so that you avoid accidental edits or data nodes. We also preserve customizations in your model difference layer. If you remember, XAF has several built-in model difference storages like file. Its changes are stored in XAF ML file. You can also store in database. It's default for projects created using solution wizard. And you can also use standard XAF features like model difference management. For example, when you allow your administrator to manage model difference for any user, or to apply some administrative differences to all users. And this will all function without customization as well. And before we finish with this particular feature, I wanted to focus a little bit more on detail form, because as we announced, we are reworking our images completely. Here you can see office-inspired images, which are colorful, and we are currently working to replace hundreds of them for all XAF modules. For example, this part, as I mentioned in the blog post, it's not done yet, and we are working on it. But the rest you can see just how it feels. What else? Let me move it here. We also try to make it work and look fine on dark themes. For example, I changed the theme, and you can see the result. What else? On this form, you can also see that we removed the new action as we planned, because we, based on our stats and user feedback, we consider it redundant here. So you can create new records from list view, and also you can also use the new save and new command. You all must remember this from WinForms and web forms. Again, here you can see save and close, also another popular command, and depending on which command you use, this selector will remember your choice, which is helpful when you, for example, create a bunch of new items. Just new and save, and so on. What else? Also may notice that we added next and previous, which is helpful when you just need to look at data, analyze it, just switch between records. So it's also time saver, because we had it disabled previously. Let me stop for a second here and maybe answer some questions. I see there are a couple in the chat.
Yeah, there is actually no question. It's just everyone saying that this is an awesome feature, and everyone just putting like thumbs up, and that is amazing what we're achieving here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sorry, Dennis. I noticed that you removed the close button as well, with the idea that the back arrow is redundant with the close button. Is that right?
Yeah, we removed it because we had added save and close on the right. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, as you know, you can edit back with a few code lines, so
Nice.
it's not a problem. It's still, I want to emphasize that it's still a preview, so we'll change a few things as well. For example, remove refresh caption to save space, and maybe this one as well. So we welcome your feedback on what you see in our demos in this EAP, and will help to everyone. Well, let's move on to the next one. I think it's one of the most requested features I saw in the last year. It's about the filter editor. It's actually a bit surprising. Yeah, we understand its importance from WinForms, and you remember we didn't have it until this release. And for example, for configuring criteria in security permissions, we provided just text box with validation. And we were surprised how many requests we have received. And so we tried to deliver. So we listened and tried to deliver. So you can find this small button, this filter icon. And just, I think if you have this question in mind, why is it in toolbar? Why is it not in context menu? And I just say that it's planned for the future. So we want to provide standard grid header menu with common commands like show find panel, enable footer, hide column, and everything you used in WinForms and WebForms. So for now, it's in toolbar just for this preview. So what we did, we took a JavaScript filter editor from our reporting and dashboard suites. It's a DevStream based control. It's a very powerful control, and it resembles the standard filter editor in WebForms and WinForms. So you can select required condition. For example, I want all my emails to contain AB. I hope it finds anything. Yeah, I'm lucky today. So you can build complex criteria like nothing dependent on collection properties. For example, we want to search within tasks of each employee, and we want to check some conditions. For example, yeah, employees working hard. And you can also build or filters based on reference properties. So I will not focus much on this. I will just say that it's basically the same filter control that you used to love in WinForms, and there are some obvious limitations because this is a JavaScript control. It's from a different world. It has no knowledge of XAF, of XPO, or entity framework, like in this case. So some ORM specific and advanced features like free joins, for example, they may not function or will not function for sure because again, as I said, the filter control has no knowledge of this, so you can see this message for some of your complex criteria. But you can still use your text box and enter any criteria string of any complexity here. Yeah, and it's if it's valid, it will be saved properly. So you saw that I typed some nonsense here, and it showed me a validation error as expected.
Dennis, when you apply a filter, is there a visual representation somewhere on the grid or something that lets us know that it is and that it actually has been filtered?
In this preview not, but I'll plan that this icon will change its appearance, for example, like check mark or something. We just, we actually had it before, we already had it before we applied new icons, but we just didn't draw an icon for the state.
So it'll be similar to like the dashboard parameters and that type of thing, where it's just the icon.
Yeah.
Next. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. User experience is important because you can guess whether it's filter or not, and you need to have some indication. It's a must, of course.
Beautiful.
I understand it. Other comments? Okay. Let me return to Visual Studio quickly, and I will show some customization options for you for design time. For example, I showed the filter editor, and I just want to remind you that the list view node has a filter property, and you can set it in the model editor using your favorite filter editor again. And actually, when you customize your filters in Blazor application, it writes its criteria back to this property. So it's stored between runs, again, in model differences on the last layer, which happens to be a database in this particular application. What's next? For form layout customization, you should pay attention to this option. It's called customization enabled. It's now available in a cross-platform module. Previously, it was only for WinForms. Now it's cross-platform. It's true by default, like in WinForms. So if you don't like to allow your end users to customize your forms, detail forms, you can just disable it individually for each form, or better for globally. And you can do this under the options node. Here you can have layout manager options, and you have a global feature toggle. So you can just set it false, and every detail form will follow your settings, not to do monkey job here for each form. What else? I want to talk about this capability because it's great. I believe most of our customers enabled it in WinForms, and I also expect that many customers will enable it by default in Blazor. But I also we have to be realistic, and I understand that for some end users, for example, for inexperienced end users, it may cause harm. I mean, for example, if your end user moves or editors randomly, it may eventually contact you for support to fix it. And if it's your case, you must disable this capability for sure. And there is a last result that you can also reset your layout, of course, and users can do this themselves. Well, that's it for this new feature. Let's look at our plan and maybe some questions. I hope Co-Chair and Jose can help me.
Yeah, the only question that we have is on the list view to drag and drop columns to change the position.
Drag and drop columns, which one?
In the list view, just move the position of the columns and drag and drop it to remove it and so on.
I gotcha. For example, this one.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is?
In runtime.
Yeah, it's already possible today in the current version. It just works already. You can invoke the customization form for grid control. It's called column chooser, and it allows you to change positions, to hide some columns, and it will also save your layout state, database, or whatever you prefer. So it's already there. Maybe for 1 year or 2 years, I don't remember. Okay, it's again Zoom issue, so trust me. If you have no questions, I just wanted to talk quickly about additional grid list editor options that we supported. It's a find panel. For example, you may not like our built-in full text search section, and you just prefer the built-in grids action. You can just enable it using the model editor, using one setting here. Yeah. Also, we supported the preview column name. You also can set it here, and the grid control will display additional row of data. It's usually helpful for fields like description, some on text. Also supported this footer visible, and a few more options which I forgot, so I apologize. Okay, we already talked about new SVG icons, and we look forward to your feedback, because it's something to be enabled by default, and it's serious, and we want to hear as much as we can from you. We talked about additional comments, 7U, 7 close, next previous. We also talked about hidden new action, and I here again want to thank our community, because you remember I had a question in our roadmap post when we had an idea to enable so-called quick create action. that you may remember from web forms and win forms, but we received a lot of comments and decided not to implement it. And this is just another example of how you can directly affect development of our framework, because we do it for you after all. And I think I must show the favorite feature of HOSA. It's about this action container, new action container, quick create and modifications. So I can create some test action and specify a required category, example, notification. I also can use, if my memory is broken, I can use this. And hopefully, if I just hit F5, let me try, it will display it in the right top corner. I also remember, Dave, you asked for this as well, and maybe a dozen customers more. So I hope you will like it as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because previously,
favorite feature.
Because previously you could achieve this effect only if you customize your template. I mean, you just use the built-in razor macro and customize place required action containers into different locations, and it's a bit of work, unfortunately. Now it's just a single line of code. We also needed this container anyway for scheduling module, because you remember it's also on our roadmap, and as part of schedule we have the notification module, and it has a tiny notification bell, and it must be placed there. So I saw different customers place some service actions there, like settings, also some notifications, and some global single choice actions, like some global mode when you I think I forgot something in my declaration. Maybe it's this type, but anyway, I don't want to stop much on it. You just specify your category here to notifications or quick create, and your action will appear there. Now let's move on to a very interesting feature for me and dozens of advanced customers that we heard in the last year and years before. This is about dependency injection and usability. So many of you, I think, built web API controllers and while building ASP.NET Core non-XAF applications, and you remember that you can just inject a required service into constructor, like here, and get it to your application and use it in the application. And for XAF controllers, it wasn't possible before. And now we made this shortcut, and you can define a custom constructor with services as parameters. You can decorate it with activator utilities constructor attribute, to tell XAF that it's a special constructor and has to deal with it especially. And you can just get your dependencies and do whatever you want. For example, here I requested IJS runtime service. It's a standard ASP.NET Core service, and I can do whatever I wish. Previously, you had to go to application, request service provider. Before that, you had to cast it to Blazor application, so you could not define this control code in platform agnostic model. Now you can. It's a cross-platform functionality, and it's especially useful when you have a lot of dependencies, like 3, 5, or more, and just a standard ASP.NET Core practice, and you don't need to teach your developers to some special tricks, so it's standard, and you can just use it. I want to jump to my another Visual Studio instance because previously I showed it for XAF view controller or window controller or base controller. So it was for XAF controllers. But another feature which is available in EAP 23.1 is the capability to inject dependencies into your business objects. In this preview, it's available for XPO. So let me show you that it's really XPO, because I heard some rumors that we don't love XPO. It's not true. We love it. We are proud of it, and it's just an example of the cool features that we built directly in XPO. So you might notice here that your favorite session class now has the service provider property, and you can just request a required service from it. For example, here I'm requesting security, and I want to use the security to initialize my created by property. So it's safe, it's fast, and it's a new way of solving such tasks that will work in Blazor, Web API, and even XAF WinForms. Because we supported service provider in WinForms as well, because we want to modernize it as well, because it's .NET 6, .NET 7, and we understand that customers want to use modern practices, for example, as in .NET MAUI or in .NET WinUI, you just have the same in WinForms. So have the same configuration structure. You can add your services, add modules, and just consume your services here. I talked about XP right now, and we will support this capability for Entity Framework Core as well, because we couldn't do it earlier because of EF Core 7, because EF Core 7 brings some APIs that allow us to support this feature. And continuing on EF Core, another great news is that we supported. Okay, sorry. Let me find this one. Yeah, another great news is that we supported EF Core 7 23.1. So I think it will be useful for customers who also build non-XAF applications like some IP services and business class libraries, and they often share dependencies. And the fact that we supported only F6 limited such customers in some way. Now it's no limitations. So in 23.1, you can either use EF Core 7 or EF Core 6. So we just adjust our code using some reflection that it supports both versions, even despite of some backend changes. Well, any questions, comments on this? Dependency injection, EF Core support?
I think just having it on even the session is amazing. The fact we can hit our services from our business objects is, yeah, so necessary and amazing.
Yeah, and here I left a comment in this line, but you must understand that you have all standard ASP.NET Core features available to you within this context. So you can use this nice feature like I options snapshot. So you can, for example, define some options within your JSON configuration file. So it's very flexible. I recommend you visit a topic on this stuff in Microsoft documentation and to see how flexible it is, how much code lines it saves, and it makes your code cleaner. You can, for example, introduce options for your unit tests. What we do, for example, right now, it's even helpful for us internally to develop. So I like that we embraced and continue to embrace this modern stack, and because it really makes you more productive. Any additional comments, or questions, or suggestions? I would be happy to.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the blog post, we see the biggest features, and this dependency injection is just a line, like in the second paragraph. So I think this is amazing.
Yeah, it deserves 2 posts, so it's large, I think. And before I finish with Entity Framework, another good news, it's about middle tier security and WinForms applications. I think you all understand that the world we are living in changes, and new security controls are introduced every year. Some vulnerabilities are detected, and we have to react. We have to make our applications more secure by default. And this particular feature is for better protection of WinForms applications. So I will just quickly show you our wizard. I will select WinForms. I will select next. I will select EF Core. I then will select standard authentication, and voila, here you can see middle tier security. It wasn't available for EF Core until 23.1. It was only available for Explorer. Now it's here. You can use it. It works. It's fast. It's reliable. It's secure. It's the most important. Because as you understand, the idea behind this feature, it talks to a middle tier server. So our solution wizard creates a service that connects to database, and then the WinForms client, it connects to this secure service, and it's behind authentication. So you specify your authentication type, your parameters, and only users that can actually access this service can use your application. And again, it's a modern stack. It's all standard ASP.NET Core. So you can deploy this service to Azure, to Amazon. You can use Ubuntu and whatever operating system you prefer. So it's very nice stuff as well. It's also, in my opinion, a very big feature, because just imagine a different scenario that in the past you had a WinForms application and it connected directly to a database server. It's not very secure without additional steps, because you have to configure your policies on database server, you have to use TLC, you have to take care a lot, and now it's gone. Now it's just 1, 2, 3 clicks and you have secure application. And again, it's for EAP Core 7 and 6. Any additional questions, comments on this part?
Yeah, I'm just going to repeat the question that we have in the chat. Is if we should move to Entity Framework Core from XPO. A lot of people have asked that. So I think that Dennis already showed that XPO is not going anywhere, that is still giving love to XPO. XPO and SAF have been together for a long time. And actually, I personally would choose XPO 9 out of 10 times. I know in the future that might change, but if anyone else, if Dennis wants to add anything else or anyone else?
Yeah, about this topic. I recently saw your article. You wrote it, a comparison of XPO versus EAP Core. Yeah, it's a nice comparison. And I think this choice is up to you, to any developer. And you make this choice based on your experience, based on your investment. By the way, after this article, I wrote my own article. It's a bit bigger. It's that table, and I hope to get it published soon. And in this article, I try to compare it objectively. I mean, not from DevExpress, but how, for example, a new user can see it. And you also remember that we defaulted ORM choice to Entity Framework last fall, and we did it on purpose. And we also try to publish new documentation for Entity Framework Core every week, I think, every month for sure. For example, we published the new article about scaffolding your business classes from existing databases. We published a new help topic about connecting to multiple databases with Entity Framework Core. Because many customers know how to do it with XPO, and for Entity Framework it was a question. We had no good examples. Now it's gone, and we consider the documentation for Entity Framework Core much better, close to XPO1. And again, the choice is up to you. XPO is not going anywhere. I mean, we are fixing bugs for it. We are making some new features where we can. We are updating database providers based on the most popular requests. We are updating it for .NET Framework versions, Visual Studio versions, etc., etc. Ultimately, we have to also face the reality that XPO doesn't compete with Entity Framework Core, and Entity Framework Core is developed by Microsoft. It's promoted by Microsoft. It gets some features by Microsoft, and Microsoft has bigger team behind anti-frame core. So it's also a question. I think it's a question of finding developers for XPO, and it's much easier for anti-frame core. Anyway, you'll see my thoughts in a blog post or help topic soon. I think that's basically it for my part today. I'm sorry for it to take so long, but we wrote too much.
No, not at all, not at all. Dennis, actually, this was the main topic, and actually, we have covered a lot of information, a lot of great things, a lot of new features. So, to be honest with you, I think that basically we should call it a day and leave it on this. That way, we have just a quick video, a nice video of 1 hour with everything that is in the early preview 23.1, and then we can get our hands on it. So I already have it installed. So basically, now that you have given us a really nice overview of everything, it's just started to play and eager to play all the dependency injection, to put an action without doing a template, to use the filter editor, to go over there and get a little bit crazy with the framework. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And for sure, we'll have plenty of time to talk about multi-tenancy support, which is, in my opinion, maybe the biggest topic for this year. And it must be interesting. Also, web API stuff, a lot of happens here. We recently built a web assembly example using this web API. We built a .NET example. It's going to be published soon. So a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that we will have a couple more blog posts coming our way. I'm looking forward to read the one from XPO and Entity Framework and everything else that is coming. So I don't know if Jose, Dave, Robert, or anyone else want to add anything, ask any questions. Let me see.
Well, I have a small question before we take the picture of the meeting. It's more a complaint than this, and is that now that EF core is the default one in the wizard, when you also create a new domain component, it's the default one. But all the time I pick XPO because I just usually use an XPO. And even when you select XPO, when you do a new domain component, it default again to Entity Framework. So I think it will be, yeah, Entity Framework can be the default choice. But if you pick XPO, everything should stick with XPO. I don't know if it makes sense or if it happens to you already.
I think it makes sense. I don't know to whom it would not make sense. It's just something to take care for us. I originally thought about like preserving your choice somewhere because we don't do this, and it's something we can consider depending on its complexity. Yeah, we try to save not to say respect user preferences, and so I would appreciate it if you just report it in the sample.
I will put it in the support center.
Don't forget. Yeah.
All right, then that's it. There is a new question that is asking about the new version update includes the fixed columns, but I'm not even sure what they are meaning there. Fernando, if you want to clarify in the chat, we can wait for.
I understand the question actually. It's a fixed columns feature when your left column, for example, sticks to the left, and whatever you scroll to the right, it sticks to the left. It's always visible, like next to like top visible row. This particular feature is not included into this preview. We haven't claimed it for this EAP, but it's part of future releases for sure. Same as, for example, column header filters, which is, I think, another popular request after filter editor. So it's have plenty of time, 2-3 months ahead.
Nice. All right, everyone. You still have Dennis here. This is the chance. Last question time.
Yeah,
If
feel free
not-
to ask anything.
Yeah. Please. If not, we'll see you guys next month with another XAFers Community Stand-Up. Thanks everyone for joining in, and stuff out. Coach, take the
No,
picture.
not
And
yet, the picture. It's time for the picture. So everyone, if you want to put the camera on, you have like 2 seconds. 1. There you go. I see some familiar faces. So 1, 2, 3, and another one. And last one. Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right. Hey, thanks everyone for joining in. Thanks, Dennis, for the presentation, and see you next month.
Yeah, thank you for hosting. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Take
See
care.
you.